Hello and welcome to post-match reaction to the Waratahs versus the Force. This is the Force's first win since 2017 on the 15th of July, where they beat another team. Which team do you think they beat, Cornflake?
Yes, who really cares? The Force won. And you know what? It's thanks to the mighty Argentinians that get the job done. They've done it. Victory. That's all that matters. I'm wearing it. Really, I am. I'm honoured. I'm honoured to wear the badge that side of the Jaguares, the Argentinians, the mightiest team of all Super Rugby sides. Oh, brilliant. Isn't this a fantastic day of Super Rugby? And it's just outstanding. The Force have arrived. They've won a game. It was ugly. It was messy. It was dirty. And it was a victory. That's all that matters.
Because you must have been watching a totally different game for the commentators, because they finished up by saying a game of the highest quality.
Oh, well, come on, they're Australian. What do you expect?
Anyway, so folks, for those of you who don't know, this game finished 16 to 20. The Force beat the Waratahs. The last time the Force won a game in Super Rugby was on the 15th of July 2017, round 17, their last game before they got thrown out. That was against the Waratahs, where they beat them 40-11. So yes, a smaller victory than that. Take off that jersey. It looks like you're about to eat crab, and you've got yourself a bib on. Lucky I don't put this one out as a podcast, so that sort of thing won't go well. Look, the Tars came out firing early on. Got a line out maul try with that one after turning down 3. You're like, oh dear, don't turn down 3s, boys. But hey, it worked for them. And the Force really were not at the races a lot, giving up penalty. They were getting opportunities. They were going down into the Tars 22, getting and then just coughing up the ball. The Tars marching down the field and knocking over 3, and suddenly they're 13-0 up with 23 minutes gone. And I'll be honest, I'm finding Roast Battle on YouTube to be more interesting to watch. But
yes,
up
Sheldon.
the Force, exactly, Sheldon, up the Force. And then finally, after the backs, and this is one of the things we've been talking about, isn't it? Is the problem with the Force is their centre combination. So what do? You know what? The forwards show them how it's done. Thrush passes the ball on nicely to Anstey, the ex-Sevens player, who cuts a wonderful line, doesn't panic being a forward, and looks around. And there's Lee Warner, the other lock, ready to collect it. 2 locks and number 6, brilliant, combined to a lovely try. And it was a lovely try, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the Western Force, haven't we, over the last season and a little bit. We've talked about what their strengths are. Their strengths really is that back row and what they offer in experience, but especially those guys in the back row. And they really did stand up in this matchup. Big busts, short passes, playing to their strengths. And, I mean, they were, like you say, outplayed in that opening stanza of the matchup. That early try to Parecki, who, you know, they kind of played that Brumby style of rugby, didn't they? They got in there with their forwards. They mauled it up. It was really like a textbook sort of rugby from the Waratahs. It's like, wow, where's this team been for the last 2 weeks? They've kind of come out, played that forward-based game. It's like, they keep this up, it could be a long night for the Force. But, yeah, they got that broken play. And once those guys really stood up, Thrush probably had his best game, I think, in a Force shirt for quite a while. He's been an experienced guy that they've looked up to, but he often hasn't stood up to the level we kind of expect from an ex-All Black, and that's sort of a standard that we expect from him. But yeah, Fergus Lee Warner, outstanding player, great break, using their numbers, manipulating it well, using the short passes, bust through, great pace, great awareness to know what's around him and to keep the ball alive. And great Force try. And that, much like we talked about earlier in the evening with the Highlanders, a turning point in the game was that try from the Western Force. It completely turned this game on its head, and it went from the Force going, oh, this is easy, we'll just score an early try, just keep building on our lead. We got sorted 13-0 up. It's easy cheese at that point, isn't it? You just keep building on that scoreboard pressure, and that's how you win the game. But the Force turned it on its head, that, getting a penalty straight after that, 13-10, heading into the halftime break, it really did turn the game completely on its head, and the Force built on that quite nicely heading into the second half.
Yeah, you're right. The Tars actually playing a sensible game. It's like getting an early try and then building your lead. Wow, where's this mature side come from, kind of thing. In the second half, then, and I'm thinking, the Force are butchering a number of opportunities, just like they did in the first half. Then they get that line out off the top, sort of faking the maul. Anstey on a lovely loop around at pace, bounces off one and then reaches over. So involved in both of their of their tries was Anstey, setting up assisting for the first and scoring the second. He had a good game, the number 6, and at that point you're thinking, okay, this is where the Tars pull away. So this is where the Force pull away, a fading Tars, kind of disappear into the background. But it wasn't to be. The Tars then basically went on a bunch of clean breaks and just coughed the ball up. 15 turnovers in this game from the Tars. And seriously, guys, you had this game. The Tars could just hold on to that ball. The Tars ended up having 4 put-ins into the scrum. The Force had twice as many. And that's just all from knock-ons. Especially now that being held up over the line is a dropout, it's not a scrum. The Tars handling woeful, unfortunately, in this one. And so you're like, okay, yeah, this is the Tars keep themselves in this, but they don't really look like scoring. It should go to plan until the reserve hooker for the Force decides that he'll take exception. He'll slam someone to the ground. He'll then take it. He'll then get surprised when he gets his shirt held onto. So he punches the guy in the face on the floor. Like, what are you doing? It's just the referee's just like, well, guys, I'm trying to find some excuse here as to why the hell he's done this, because surely. Then he's just like, well, red card. It just. And everybody's like, anybody got any other opinions? And they were like, no. It's one of the clearer red cards. Obviously, not quite as clear as perhaps Joe Moody's, where it took 4 or 5 hits to the face, but which I think is what Jordan's referring to in the chat. But this was a clear red card, and why the player was shaking his head as he's walking off the pitch and going, "Why am I red carded?" Yeah, just wow. What did the coaches teach them?
I mean, there's a big difference between Joe Moody and Andrew Reddy, isn't it? And it's the fact that it was like this and not like this. I mean, it's a little difference, but as soon as you go like that and like that, it's curtains for you, isn't it? It really, really is. And boy, they were very, very mistake-ridden sides right now in the second half. A close match. It really personifies what Super Rugby AU is all about, isn't it? Especially at this lower end when you're battling out for the wooden spoon. You got 2 teams who are, the Force are really trying their best. They're spending all the resources they have, the cash, the money, getting in these superstars, these experienced players, trying to build up along with what they have in Western Australia and along with some international cash, trying to build up a team, trying to keep themselves safe. And you got the Waratahs who are just completely shell-shocked with what they have, what they've lost, what they're building up now over the years. And it just made for an interesting contest in the fact that you had 2 very similar sides battling out, not at their best. These teams are clearly far away from the Reds and the Brumbies. So it made it, in that respect, an interesting matchup. And the red card, before I said it in a little chat there, it's like 15 minutes to go, man down, 4-point lead. It's like, it is all on. It is all on. How much is that compassion or that passion, I should say, and the resilience of that Western Force team? What have they got? What's in the tank? How much they want to win this game? Because you've got the lead. All you need to focus on is clearing your half and defense. Defend with everything you have, and you can win this game. You don't need to chase the game. You need to force the other team to chase the game. And that's what they had to play with. And I think closing it out, they actually did a really good job. It was probably the best sort of. They
were doing a good job. As the commentators mentioned, they weren't contesting the ruck. They were fanning out. They were saying, "Look, you've got to score. That's what you
bring
said.
it on.
We don't actually have to get the ball off you. We just have to stop you from getting across this line." Until one of their players decides, "Oh, I'll contest for the ball," and gives a penalty. It's like, mate, we've got the game plan. Play the bloody game plan. One of those coach killers. That ruck infringement led to 3 points, and suddenly it's a 1 point game, and it really is hanging on by your fingernails. But no, the Tars decide that they'll make life a bit easier for the Force and give up a scrum penalty. Or it was a scrum free kick first, wasn't it? Then it was going to come back for a penalty, and then it went over. And you're like, guys, you've given them a bit of territory. You've knocked it on again. You just don't do anything stupid like go early, which is what I think what they did the first time, and then your props has got to stay up. You can't drive in and down, and that meant that the points went over. And to be fair, the goal kicking in this one was perfect. So if you were to infringe, you gave it the points. That meant they pulled it out to 16-20, and suddenly, right, all that hard work of getting that of closing it to 1 point game is it's back to a try again for the Tars. And let's be honest, apart from that line out maul try, they hadn't really been. They didn't look like scoring a try all game. So it was never going to happen as long as the as long as the Force didn't give up penalties to allow them to kick the corner, which they did once. The only way the Tars were going to score was by line out maul, really.
Both sides are in a similar boat, weren't they? Really struggling to get in good areas, build pressure against their opposition, and to actually build momentum and to break the line and to get into attacking areas. I mean, the 22 was a pretty sacred area for both the sides. There's not too many, opportunities 5-10 meters out from the line for either two sides. So try scoring opportunities was pretty scarce for the two sides. So you went into that, that lead that the Force had, and like you say, make the other team play. And the way the game had gone in that 70, 75 minutes up to that point, it's like, boy, if you've got the lead, you're in control of this matchup because neither side really looked like scoring. And if you're leading by more than 3, you are in the box seat because a penalty goal clearly is not going to get you the result you need. And the Waratahs, we go back to that penalty shot for goal, going to the corner. I mean, you're trailing by 4. What do? It's really a tough call. I mean, you go to the corner, you take 5 points or 7 points. You are a champion, aren't you? You go in there and I made the right call. But you go in there and you come away with 0. Yep, you are a disaster to your nation. And so it's a tough call. The Waratahs at that point, when they trailed by 4, they went for 3. You got to say, with time remaining, it really is a tough call. I wouldn't want to be a captain.
With 7 minutes remaining, you've got time to go back and score another penalty. Yeah, so I think it was the right call. Absolutely. And actually, if they'd still been within 1 point, they got that penalty to take that shot. But they'd gone back out to 4 points, so they had to go for the corner and go for the line out. So they could have. It was the right call. For all the lack of scoring opportunities in this, there was a lot of rugby played. The Waratahs attempted 204 tackles, but made 178, which is a lot for one side. But when the Force have also, you normally, in those sorts of situations, you expect like 174 tackles, the opposition made like 60 or 70 and have dominated the game. No.
Yep.
The Force have made 179 tackles of 201. We were getting players cramping up towards the end there. So look, some of the scrappy play in the last 10 minutes I can understand, but not for the rest of that second half. There was an awful lot of rugby actually played in this game. So hat tip to the ref for keeping the water boys off.
Yeah,
to be honest, it was he did a good job from that point of view. 400 meters run by the Force, 269 by the Waratahs. You're gonna love this one. So for all that running, 42 kicks from hand by the Waratahs, 45 by the Force.
Yeah.
So 87 kicks in this game.
Yeah, it was a game of drive back, wasn't it? Really, it was a game of try and force the other team into an error, and that's what it all came down to. It was kind of like that fear of making a mistake yourself, so you want to thump it to the other team to try and force them into the error instead. So it really was a battle of the wooden spoon, the ultimate showdown between those two sides.
Yep. Absolutely, and Tim in the chat said, time midfielders couldn't do basic passing to their wings. And I'm not sure that the force centres were that much better. To be honest, so yes, it didn't pay to be a winger in this one, because basically you're basically both wingers was extra fullbacks at the end of the day. So yes, there we go. Congratulations to the force. Just reminiscing about that game from 2017. Some of the players playing that day included Marcel Bracchi, who was on the bench tonight. Ian Pryor was on the bench again, just like he was back in 2017. And John O'Lance was playing for the Force back then, but is injured this weekend. Otherwise, would have been playing. So 3 players still around. If players have lost, players like Dane Hewlett-Petty, obviously, and his brother, Billy Meeks, Rona, Nazarani, Coleman, Pelotinow. I mean, they had some decent players back then. It's just a shame they didn't keep hold of them. But there you go.
You know what this game come down to? I think a big difference between these two sides was the effectiveness of their fullbacks. Maddox wanted to play fullback. Boy, you seen him a lot at the back, didn't you? He didn't have the face, the faith, I should say, in Nuanganituasi at the back. It's like you've seen a lot of that ball where you've seen Nuanganituasi 5 meters away, and you've seen Joe Maddox come trotting across and saying, "No, I got this one, buddy. Yes, I don't trust you to take this." It's like, I'll sort this one out. Boof, and he kicks it away. Whereas the Force had a lot more faith. Goodness me, I'm struggling with that word tonight. And Rob Carney, he was, again, like he was in their opening matchup, a real force. High ball, long ball, positioning-wise, he just has that smarts, the experience to be in the right place, to take those kicks, to take it in calmly, kick it back the other way. He's just a no-nonsense sort of player. He just is in the right place at the right time, and he just plays that solid sort of rugby. And I think that profited the Force quite nicely, whereas the Waratahs really, I think they should have just kept Joe Maddox at fullback. It's clearly he wants to be there. He spent most of his game back there, and poor old Nuanganituasi just was kind of a passenger, kind of at the back there, just struggling to get into the game.
I didn't think he did that bad. For a guy who's not a fullback, I thought he did pretty well.
He did well, but he was shut out. I think Maddox just wanted to play his role. Yeah.
But you look at that. You go, Cheni Pulu does not want to be a fullback. He enjoys being a winger. He's not going to come and push Kearney out the way, is he? I want to take this high ball, please. No, that's hopefully Kearney's okay from when he got taken out in the air. There was a player who was in a position to challenge the ball, but there was also another player who was just stood around in that area that took him out. So I think it was a bit unlucky not to get a penalty at that point, and the game played on while he just laid there, not looking too well. So hopefully he's all right now. He did get up and finish the game. So yes, that's all I've got to say about the game, really.
And let's be honest, this game was about the Force just grinding out a win. And so they wouldn't care how this win came about, whether it was 3 points to 0 or 6 points to 3, 9-6, whatever it was, 10-9, 8-7 is the famous scoreline from the 2011 Rugby World Cup. It's like they don't care. A win is all that matters. If this team can propel themselves off the bottom of the table to 4th, okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll just go 4th for this team. That is a massive accomplishment, and that is what the goal is set about. If it's the Rebels they get ahead of, it's the Waratahs they get ahead of, it doesn't matter. They've set about the goal, and that is to not be bottom of the table. They've beaten the Waratahs now, and that's a massive accomplishment. The Waratahs are a very, very well-established team historically over Super Rugby AU. So this is a fantastic result. Their first win in a long, long time. Like you've talked about, they've grounded out. It was ugly, it was messy, it was dirty, but it's a W. And when we look back at this and next season in 2022, what a great year that will be. We'll say, hey, this is where the Force turn the corner. This is where the Force become a force. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everyone, in Super Rugby AU. And the future is going to be bright for this team. Up and at it from here, hopefully, for the Western Force.
Hopefully. Well,
Positive.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we will, don't forget, folks, to join us at 8 p.m. on Sunday evening. We'll round up, give a proper review of all 4 games rather than just our quit hot takes straight after the match when it's, just after midnight. So anyway, good night and have a great day, Bon.
2 in a row.